I now recognize the gentleman from New Mexico, Mr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Chairman Green, for holding this hearing and for the opportunity to discuss one of my top policy priorities. I was born and raised in the borderlands, and I'm extremely proud to represent New Mexico's 2nd Congressional District, which spans 180 miles of the border between Mexico and New Mexico. I'm one of the few members of Congress that has actually traveled across the border on horseback, on ATV, with Border Patrol, with CBP agents, hunting and backcountry camping all across the vast district in New Mexico. I've spent my life on both sides of the border, and I've served as the co-chair of the Southwest Border Security Task Force, which has worked in partnership with local and federal law enforcement. Something that we all, both Democrats and Republicans, have noted as a national crisis is the increasing presence of fentanyl, and this crisis is felt nowhere more than in my community. In 2021 alone, over 100,000 people in the United States died due to drug overdoses, according to the National Institutes on Drug Abuse, with a staggering 2/3 of those deaths coming from synthetic opioids like fentanyl. Land ports of entry, like Santa Teresa and Columbus in my district, play integral roles in screening cargo and passenger traffic entering the United States. We've seen that a majority of the illicit drugs that are caught coming into this country are found by authorities at our ports of entry. However, it's estimated that we're only catching 5 to 10% of those drugs. Congress must come together to deliver solutions. That's why I've introduced the bipartisan Joint Task Force to Combat Opioid Trafficking Act. This is a common-sense bipartisan bill that would empower state, local, federal, and private sector partners to come together to address illicit opioid smuggling. This is a bill that is endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police. My bill would authorize DHS to create a task force charged with improving security at the border and new technologies to detect illicit narcotics and opioids. We simply cannot afford to not use all of the tools available to us as tens of thousands of Americans continue to die every year because of these deadly substances. Last year, Congress extended the authority for DHS to establish joint task forces, recognizing the important role that they play bringing together resources, intelligence, and operations across DHS, including the Coast Guard, Customs and Border Protection, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. But DHS has only used this authority to create one task force, and it is clear to me that the opioid crisis is worthy of dedicated resources and attention. By authorizing DHS to create this joint task force on opioid trafficking, my bill will help officials partner with private sector entities when necessary, along with federal, state, local, tribal, and international authorities to accomplish their mission. This joint task force will be able to improve DHS's ability to conduct investigations, oversee counter-narcotic operations, and most importantly, reduce the amount of illegal drugs smuggled into the United States. It's important to mention that the House previously passed such a joint task force with strong bipartisan support, but unfortunately the Senate failed to do their job and it never became law. We must finish the job now in the face of this unprecedented crisis. As a representative for New Mexico's 2nd District, my top priority is ensuring the safety of my constituents, and I know that the same is true for you as well, Chairman Green. The time to act on this crisis is now, and my legislation is a prime example of what a common-sense, bipartisan solution looks like for an issue that is plaguing all of our districts. I'm proud to say that Representative Ciscomani, who will speak before you today, is also an original sponsor of this legislation. I urge this committee to move this bill, which will make our community safer, and I welcome the support of the distinguished members of this committee to hold a hearing and a markup for this bill as soon as possible. Thank you again for your time this morning, Chairman Green. I yield back the balance of my time.